Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. So there's a term, I don't think that I coined it, but I think I used it before I heard anybody else say it, and I'm sure you've heard it by now, pandemic fatigue. So I want to go back a few years, 1986. I'd been a youth pastor for 1 year, and I was crispy. I was burned out and didn't share it with a lot of people, but I was planning on getting home from this one trip, going on another one to Belize, Central America for 4 weeks, and after that, it was all going to be over. I was going to be done. So what led up to that? Well, I was driving the old church bus back from Florida. I had a group of teenagers down in Florida. And the bus broke down so many times that this one student, I think his name was Dave Leck, would mark with a nail on the paint. It was such an old bomb of a bus, I didn't care that he was doing it. But it was like 8 times the bus broke down. And then when it finally broke down, we left it in this town down in Indiana. The block cracked and we had white smoke coming out of that thing. It was a sight to behold. But what I recall was before that, we were driving through downtown Louisville. And it was rush hour. And I've got about 20 students on the bus, and it starts to overheat. Only the problem is the radiator, it runs through the heating system. Remember on a school bus, the heater was in the back? So if you can picture this, the stuff that's normally coming out of a radiator is spewing in the back of the bus. It's down the aisle. People are like surfing down the aisle, but it's also noxious, fumes. And so the last thing you want on a bus is for people to stick their hands out the windows. People were sticking their heads out the window. And it was a construction zone, so I could not pull over, and I couldn't fault them for sticking their heads out. And I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. But you know, the interesting thing was I chatted with someone about it, and they were able to give me a little insight that maybe, you know, we have a spiritual enemy, and maybe I'm looking at things the way he wants me to instead of the way God wants me to. And once he said that, now this goes back, this is a little bit of a time capsule. Remember the movie Silverado? Well, Danny Glover comes in, and I'm trying to think, well, the guy's name is Emmett. But he tells him, Emmett's got this gunshot wound to the head, and he's like dying in this cave. And Danny Glover comes in, and he's got a great voice, doesn't he? I heard it one time at O'Hare. We were on a flight with him, and he walked down to get his luggage about the same time we did. But anyway, in the movie Silverado, he really represents justice, and he looks at Emmett. He goes, and Emmett, they took the boy. Emmett, they took the boy. Well, that meant, I think it was his nephew, and then from that point on, Emmett got on the horse, ripped off the bandage, and his bullets always found where they were aiming. Pretty cool. And that's kind of what happened with me. I went to Belize, but what I learned to do was to apply some wisdom to my life. I was crispy, so I had to do some things differently. I was getting burned out because I kept doing things the same way. Well, I was a rookie. I really didn't know what I was doing. As the years went by, I learned to pattern trips and events so that myself and other leaders would enjoy them. Because if we enjoyed them, the students were enjoying them a whole lot more. And I learned one thing really simple about working with students. If you're one step ahead of them, everything works much better than if you're one step behind. But it's a huge difference. Adjustments. It's all about making adjustments in life. My brother and I have been playing tennis this year, and been playing with another old friend of mine, Mark. And I learned it from my brother. When you play tennis, you have to make adjustments. You can just keep playing the same game, but you're probably not going to win. You know, they always talk about in football about halftime adjustments. If you just keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result. You need to apply some wisdom. Let me share a few verses from Proverbs. And my prayer for you today is that you just step back from your life if you're feeling some burnout, some fatigue, and just say, hey, how can I look at this differently? How can I do some things differently? Proverbs chapter 2. My child, listen to what I say, and treasure my commands. Tune your ears to wisdom, and concentrate on understanding. Cry out for insight, and ask for understanding. Search for them as you would for silver. Seek them like hidden treasures. Then you'll understand what it means to fear the Lord, and you will gain knowledge of God. For the Lord grants wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He grants a treasure of common sense to the honest. He is a shield to those who walk with integrity. God bless you. Have a great day.